I did a short introduction. Around March, we did the Smart Sensor Challenge with the Holland Contact and PropTech. We had 20 companies, Dutch real estate companies and municipalities from Amsterdam, Rotterdam, a challenge to find the smartest sensors. We came together and this group came out. I think I'll shortly introduce myself. I work for Holland Contact and PropTech as well as Real Estate Futureproof. I'm responsible for the marketing and communications. But I, of course, want to give the stage to you guys because you are the ones that are here to tell about your product or your service. So I'll just give you all the word, and I'll start with Marjolein. I'll just go clockwise. Marjolein, could you please shortly introduce yourself and your company?
I'm one of the co-founders of InSmart, and we have developed a predictive maintenance solution for HVAC equipment. And we're focusing on the smaller buildings who do not have yet an own expensive HVAC monitoring system. And users of buildings as well as maintenance companies as the building owners will benefit from our solution.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Alexander.
Yeah. Hello. My name is Alex. I'm the one I'm responsible that we speak English here. I'm from Germany. I'm a managing partner for Lift Technology. Our product Lift Guardian is a leading solution to increase transparency and safety of lifts in buildings via IoT's sensoric and analytics.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Rino.
I'm Rino. I'm one of the founders of Zenbased, and we developed a sensor to monitor fire gap seals in buildings to do the maintenance.
Thanks. Mark van Kan. Simone.
Yes, hi, I'm Mark. I'm the founder of Simone, the business side of asset management. We missed a lot of good communication between the tenants and the real estate brokers. And we created a program which is not a sensor, but to increase the benefit of facility management.
Perfect. Thanks for your introduction. Then I'll move on to Aldrik.
My name is Aldrik Bos. I'm CEO of Lift Insight. We developed, first of all, a lift book, because every lift has a lift book, just the same as in your car is a book where they write down if there's done maintenance. And I thought it's crazy that it's paper on this time. So we made a digital one. And based on that lift book, we put on sensors to the elevator. Here we have a sensor on the top of the car, and the other one you can put in the door. And we measure temperature, air pressure, movements, and so we collect all that data, and it's going to our big data platform. And because of the AI we use, we can give back to the customer the moments of service and the moments where you have to exchange components on the elevator, and that leads to 22% more efficiency till in sometimes more than 50%.
Wow, that's impressive, Aldrik. Thank you for your introduction. Ken, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Ken Heron. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Singapore-based UIB. We are an artificial intelligence company, and I have an interesting job in that my job is to enable people to communicate with their things. And of course, that includes their smart buildings and all of the different systems within it. We've recently done a collaboration with Bosch, maker of cameras and a lot of different building sensors, so that everyone can talk directly to the building and control things. Also the ability to, when you live in a building, whether you're a business person or a resident, there are issues that pop up. Something needs to be cleaned, something is broken. This allows direct communication between the residents of a building and the building owners, the property managers, so that issues can be very quickly resolved and taken care of. So literally, there's a piece of trash in the building lobby. I can take a photo of it. It's sent through WhatsApp or another channel, and the building itself can discuss, okay, how do we resolve this issue directly into their ticketing system in the back end. So the idea is to make it very easy for tenants or residents in a building that they don't need to download an app, they don't need to log into anything, they just message.
Thank you very much. And before I move on to Andrew and Andrea, I also like to motivate people that are watching. We've got 25 viewers. If you already have questions about one of the introductions of the speakers, please feel free to post it in the chat function on the right side, so we can answer them for you. And now I'll move on to Andrew. Please take the stage.
Thank you. My name is Andrew from Recycling Lab, based in Hong Kong. I'm the technical manager in the company. Our company does a lot of predictive maintenance projects using different technology like infrared, vibration condition monitoring, or tests. We have a lot of commercial partners that we manage their HVAC system. We do a lot of vibration tests for the chillers, water pumps, and other rotating machineries. And then we have also some projects with the government to improve the reliability of public facilities like sewage treatment plants and water supply, fresh water supply plants. So yeah, we have a lot of project reference and a lot of experience in predictive.
Thank you. A lot of companies from different parts of the world. It's cool, cool to have all together here online. Andrea, last but not least, from Senso Neo, if I pronounced it right.
Yes, that's right. I'm from Slovakia, so here.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Which provides with smart waste management solutions. We are fully dedicated to that, and predictive maintenance and facility management together with the PropTech and property management is another vertical that we are involved, and that's thanks to our great experience with Sensorix, because we are actually the developer and in-house producer of smart sensors to monitor waste, but we can very easily monitor many other materials such as rainwater, such as even mailing baskets and some other materials. So this is for us like a new stream that we are involved since last year.
Perfect, thank you. Then I have, since I don't see any questions yet from the chat and from the people watching, please feel free to do so. But I already have a question for you guys. Of course, there's probably a lot of sessions are about this. Oh, I see a question. Well, maybe we can start with that. There are many different applications with different platforms. How does a building get the total overview? Is a question from Marcel Mazier. Does some of you have an answer on that or wants to answer on it?
I can answer if nobody else wants. The solutions, I don't know about the others, but our is like developed with the idea to be easily integrated into any other information system. It's purely cloud working. So this is basically like our everyday business that we connect to somebody else information system, not to change the whole world they are working in. So that's the approach.
I can second that, actually. I think it's important that all of our solutions, and there are, of course, many more out there in the market, offer free APIs to integrate into existing customer systems, either in the systems that are already there or into the systems that we can propose to them. We are working with a number of, let's say, computer-aided facility management systems where we can integrate into. I think it's important to see that we are not the navel of the world, regardless whether we represent HVAC or elevators or what have you. We need to make sure that we all understand there's more out there that we need to work with.
Yes,
I completely agree on that. We also work with APIs to send our data to other platforms.
I think the other way is true as well. That there cannot be a platform for all the pieces in a building that have the knowledge of all the separate. Hey, good to see you. There cannot be a general solution that has the knowledge of all the building parts that we have. So I think it's needed that there are specific products for every part of the building, and there is deep information in that for the mechanic and for the people who has to work on that. But for the building owner, they need some general information. So we also offer a free API to we say everything you can put in by hand or you see in the screen, you can get in or out by an API.
Yes, I think it's important to cluster the information per subject or per asset. As nowadays, when you have a paper ordner in the ordner, and it's also only for the fires, for the lifts, or for the ventilations. I think you need a database for each subject or asset, and then connect all your data into that database.
The question is which party or which company offers such a general solution that we can connect to, because my problem at this moment is there are many people who want to use our API, but there is no standard or something like that, and I should want that there was a standard, because then we can build for that standard.
Well, Eldrick, you have platforms who are connected by API as well. So you see more and more company who will connect to that, and then you have the knowledge of different parties who just have one thing, but the one thing they're pretty good at, they send out their knowledge to the sub-platform, and other companies will connect to that. And if you have the owner or asset manager who's connected with the sub-platform, then you have most of the knowledge of the complete building.
I know, but what I'm searching for is that every building owner has his own sub-platform, and that is not a solution for us if we want to offer our solution to all building owners. So maybe it should be nice that we work on together on one standard between our solution and the sub-platforms.
Yeah, true. But then we need the politic, probably.
Maybe, or not, because my idea is that if we decide to do that together, and this is the Smart Sensor Challenge, so we have the smartest companies of the world together, and if we do this together and we take the initiative, then we make the rules. And I think it's always better to make the rules yourself than when the government asks you to follow their rules, because that costs years.
I also think it's very good to think of.
Yeah,
sorry.
Marjolein, maybe you can go first, and then Andrew, you can
I
take
think
the
it's
word.
very one platform might be useful, but it's very relevant to think of what are the messages or information you need to share there. Because when we make an API, we only want to give through relevant messages. For example, for the maintenance company or for the building owner. So you don't need to send a data plane, but you need to make the relevant messages and send them to somewhere. But what does that platform need? Like, who's looking to it?
What we have done for our
platform.
Yeah, maybe Andrew, do you have to add something to that before I give the word to Eldrick?
Yeah, we have some experience with the government that they would like us to use the Modbus protocol to transfer the message to them, and some simple sensor state, the temperature, vibration level, and then we have a summary of the health status of the machine. So then we give them a mapping table, and then we can decode those message and use the mapping table and let them know what's the status of and the health of the machines or other building components, something like that. So we are using Modbus. Yep.
Eldrick, did you want to say something still?
Now we have made a list of, let's say, 20 till 25 things we offer to the building owner. So there is a lot of more information, but that's not for the building owner, that's for the mechanic. But for the building owner, he needs to know for an elevator, is it broken or not? How many malfunctions did it have? What's the uptime? And so on and so on. but not all the technical details. So we made a list of 20 of these things. And I think the big thing at this moment is to make a platform for the building owner, not for the mechanic, because I think the mechanic is looking in every specific part of an IoT solution.
And is the answer that Marco Dorier is giving in the chat a solution, or is it something that you guys can work with? He says you can simply use a framework to get this integration level. This can even leave application in a microservices environment.
Please describe.
I would say it.
Alexander,
Sorry, go ahead.
please.
I would say this. Of course, there are technical solutions once you know what you want. And of course, frameworks and microservices might be an answer to that. And I think it would be the current state of the art. However, in our experience, it's always important to also understand which information, exactly as Eindelijk said, what's relevant for the customer, what's relevant to the mechanic. We have spoken with customers in England where you have this litigation culture who actually tell us, don't tell me if something wrong, because if you can prove that I knew it, I can go to court afterwards. So some customers even don't want to proactively be informed. And I think that needs to be understood on a process and business level, and then it can be put into technology rather easy. But I think it's important that we actually integrate ourselves into the process of the customers, understand what's relevant for them. And then in our case, if the elevator informs us about a certain status, then the customer wants to hear that, then there off it goes. And then microservices certainly can be an answer to that.
Ken or Andrea, do you maybe have something to, I think you took the stage a little bit less. Maybe you have something to say or want to say about this?
Well, also there is a question, I'm not so sure about the other solutions, but in our case, we deal very much with the detailed data related to people's behavior regarding waste. Basically, you can absolutely understand the production of waste in a city or at a certain premise. So we usually deal with the security question related to the ownership of the data, which is something that mainly cities are interested in, and that's something where we have some legal requirements prepared, and this is something that we follow very, very carefully.
Thanks. Ken?
We use our AI platform as aggregator of all the different APIs. We found the best solution to be a conversational interface, whether someone is using voice or is messaging from their phone, rather than do it through a specific. Our strategy has been to look at what are the channels that are used in particular countries. So in Dubai, maybe it's WhatsApp, in Korea, it's Kakao Talk, and enable people to do that access, to get the alerts, to get the notifications through whatever channel they choose to use. And that's worked very well for our customers.
But I think on the long-term things as WhatsApp are not enough to manage a building.
Well,
Why don't you think that?
Our experience, simply because it's so ubiquitous and everyone has it, whether you're talking about the most senior management of a building or the actual crews. And the fact that people, we're language agnostic, we do real-time language translation. So very often crews from the different units speak a different language. So the ability for someone to make a request in English and have it come through in Chinese really does, from a practical day-to-day level, really does help to solve a.
Yeah, I agree with Ken, because it's the reason why we want to predict maintenance is to keep the customers satisfied. The customers, at the end, they pay the bill, and that's the reason why we have property. And in the Netherlands, we have 94% of the users of the smartphone has WhatsApp on their phone. We at Ken we use the same procedure. But we to have the precise location of the building or the room inside a building, we use the QR codes like the one behind me, and we could connect the QR code with the specific room or installation, and we make a connection between the consumer and their smartphones or WhatsApp. And at that way, and that's not predictive, but at the end we have all the data to see what's returning on the work, and after that, after a year or after 2 years, you can predict what's coming on.
And maybe a question that I'm also very interested in. I mean, we're all sitting in this online real estate fair. Otherwise, we'd normally be somewhere physically together. I can imagine that a lot of you guys are in commercial real estate. There's people working, employees. A lot of people. Koen van Oostrom from Edge mentioned it in his keynote. We will not go back probably to the 9 to 5 days a week. There's going to be less people in offices, so there's going to be less maintenance. How are you guys dealing with that? Or what is your view on it?
Now, what we see on elevators is that some elevators are used more, like in hospitals and things like that, and others in offices they are used less. And the idea is that if you use sensors, that you buy the maintenance based on the real use of the building. So this time is the evidence that you have to buy maintenance based on sensor data. This is the right time to tell everybody, please use sensors, because it's crazy that you go to a empty office to do maintenance, but you have to be in the hospital to do maintenance, because the elevator will be broken if you don't do maintenance. And if you don't have to do it not too much, but you have to wait as long as possible, and that's based on sensor data. So there's no reason to don't do it at the moment. So this is the moment to use sensors for your maintenance. This is also our message to everybody. You are crazy if you don't do that.
Yeah, I think I agree. And if someone doesn't want to add something, I see one more question. Building management will be transformed as a result of smart sensors. What is the current greatest need for change among building owners and managers? So someone that wants to answer this question by Robert van Westing, or Robert?
I have I don't know if it's an answer, but I have an opinion on that. I think the building owners or the building users don't need to buy all the sensors. They need to get access to the data. And if you are a smart sensor company like us, I think you need to have a proposition like more in the data insights than sell smart sensors. It's not in the things, but it's in the data what you can do with it. So I think it's necessary to do a whole different kind of contracting than sell and own. It's more like lease and access.
For example, also increase the lifespan of equipment in the building.
But what I see is that the biggest challenge, where we are standing for, is that maintenance companies have to change their process of doing maintenance, because the classical way was doing maintenance 6 times a year, 4 times a year, and they could plan that before in January. The planning was ready for the rest of the year, and that is changing, and that's difficult for that companies. And I think they need to make that change, and that's what I see is that is really critical for them to make that change. And yeah, my idea is we talked about that with many elevator companies, and the pressure of the market has to change it, because they don't do it themselves. And I think Alexander should say the same.
Fully agree. I fully agree. Couldn't agree.
So there was just a small thing that I'm wondering about. How is there's of course a focus on lifts, but I see Alexander, I see Alderic, 2 lift sensoring companies. How is the collaboration, or maybe not? How's that between you guys?
But so far we get along well with each other, don't we, Alderic?
There are millions of lifts in the world, so it's very good that we hold each other sharp.
I think exactly the point Alderic made. I think currently, if you are a building owner, consider putting sensors on your lift. And as there are so many, I think there is enough market for both of us. And actually, if the alternative is not to do it, then I would even say get the stuff from Alderic, even though I think mine is better.
But you think I know that that's not really the truth.
It's good to have some competition as well. I see that it's 5 to 2 and it's about to end. I don't mind going a little bit longer. It depends on your agenda, of course, guys. So just let me know. If you want to, you're fine with wrapping it up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's fine.
If there are still many
Yeah,
more
maybe there are
questions,
some. That's a good one. Maybe there are some questions because I see still 24 people. The whole goal of this platform is to make it as interactive as physical and normal life. So please, guys, if you have a question still for one of those people, let us know.
If they don't, then I have a question, because that was, we have spoken about it before, but this sensor challenge is started by building owners. And my question to all the building owners is, can we work together on a one platform that we can put our data on that platform? We discussed it before, but I think we have to cooperate in these things, because it's a co-production of the building owner and the sensor suppliers. So if the outcome of this discussion could be that we work together on one platform, that we can offer our data in one platform for the building owner, then it will really work for them. I should like that, to start a initiative like that.
I hope there's some building owners now typing very fast and wanting to reply on it. Because these are the experts, these are the owners, etc. We also had in the studio this morning one of the smart sensor challenge participants. I think Blockbox. You guys might also have. I think they are also a platform that combines different kinds of APIs into one dashboard. I mean, I'm not an expert, as I'm just a marketeer here, but I mean, that kind of platforms is what a lot of people, and I also feel that in the different sessions I moderate, it's always about this one platform where we can combine stuff. But it's hard. I understand. Well, I see a question here, guys. Yay. Miriam Fizz, who is the owner of the data/insights generated by your sensors? The building owner or the sensor provider? I think that's a very good question. Can somebody reply? Eldrick.
We say the data belongs to nobody. So that's in our conditions. So we say if you put in data, you can always get it back. But the aggregated data, our AI is our insight. But it will never lead to one elevator or one building owner or something like that. So, and that's our intellectual property, and we give that back, and you can always get your data back. So everything you put in our platform, you can always get it out.
I think an additional important question is to ask who benefits from it. I think owning data is rather boring. You can put an SD card in and then you have your data. What do you do with it? So who takes advantage of the data? And I think that is something as a building owner I would carefully consider when I'm tying myself into one or the other ecosystem. In the case of Aldrich and I, where we work with elevators, of course, if you work with a maintenance company, they will do everything to optimize their business, and the second thought will go to the building owners. While if you have an independent lift monitoring or any other monitoring system which is working in your interest, then as a building owner, that is something I would like.
Ken, I think I also saw you raising your hand.
Yeah, that was interesting. The comment that no one owns the data. We have people purchasing our platform simply to get access to this data. This and analytics. I saw the comment, data being the new gold. I agree that it's the insights from the data, how you use it. But our answer is pretty simple, that the customer, the person who is paying the bill for the platform, gets the access to the data. So we as a company do not keep it. It simply passes through us. But we find that many companies invest in data scientists because it tells them so much. Take the lifts, take the elevators. When people are asking for things outside of an app, there's no restriction. It's free form. So you get to know what they want, you get to know what they're thinking, and that gives you incredible predictive insights to know what people want that maybe have not voiced it before. Where if I'm using an app to call an elevator, it's very restrictive. If I'm using conversation, which is I'm biased, I admit that, but when you're using conversation, people will say what they think, they will ask for what they care about, and we find building owners really find that a treasure trove of insights and information. People may never fill out a survey, but when they're waiting for the elevator, they'll complain about the lighting or talk about something else, so they get all of this additional insights that is very easily mineable and helps them to make better decisions for.
Everyone's quiet.
I agree. The data has to be owned by the one who buys the sensor, the insight, or the platform. We as a smart sensor company provide the insights for our customers, so the insights is owned by the customer.
True, but we will not share the data with like people who can benefit from it without letting the building owner know. Of course, it's not like that data is available to anyone.
No, only for the customer or the one that asked access to the data or insights.
Right.
I think this is really a problem.
Many
I
of
think
our
when
customers
you look at-
monetize this data. They see this as a revenue source, so it is theirs to share as they deem appropriate, whether it's with the government, with the community. Facilitate that, but we let it be their decision, as they're the ones who have made the investment that creates the data in the.
Yes, agreed.
Then, guys, I think I would like to wrap it up if you are all okay with that. Unless someone still wants to add something, that's also fine. No? Okay, then I think some takeaways are that there's many applications and that there should be some working together. That's, I think, mentioned by a lot of you guys, work together on a platform. Aldrich really stressed and emphasized that. How can we work together and be in front of the governments, etc. And indeed, the data thing was still a point of discussion. Indeed, who is the owner of the data? And you guys are all saying, or not all saying, but it's not owned by anyone, and you are very careful with the data. And if the owner or the customer wants it back, you're all happy to give that. I hope that's a little bit some of the most important takeaways, and that I didn't miss anything. And then I want to thank you all for joining this session. If you have more sessions today, I hope you'll go there and enjoy. The main stage is sponsored by Lift Inside by Aldrich. So I think there's still some keynotes there. So guys, thank you very much, and hope to see you all at the next online or physical real estate fair.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.